Okay. So let me look in the chat. How are you guys feeling so far? I want to see what all y'all have been saying real quickly. So many buttons on here. I need someone to run this side of it for me. How long should we try for and to see if it works? So I believe that you can know if a lead gen source works for you. If you are implementing it for 6 months, you are going to know if it's working for you. And I'm talking actually dialing in on it, not sporadically. Like, oh, I did an open house here, I did an open house there, and after 6 months, I realized it sucks, it doesn't work, right? To me, I don't think that's fair, and you didn't give it a fair chance. In the beginning, I did 3 open houses a weekend, and like all throughout the week I was preparing for those open houses and marketing them and door knocking and leaving little flyers and all the videos and social media and stuff like that. It's like, okay, if you were doing that for 6 months consistently and it wasn't working, then yeah, I would say, okay, it's time to move on. And I think there's not one fits all. I think we're all so different, and we just need to figure out what we enjoy. And the only way to figure that out is to actually try and put in a plan and implement it and see what works. I've tried things that didn't work for me, and I don't think that it makes me a bad real estate agent. And it's just, it didn't work. If you're not excited or happy about it to want to do that every single day, it's hard to make that work. So let's figure out what does. And also I will say with lead gen, there's a lot of things that there's so many ways to generate leads. If you Google like ways to generate leads in real estate, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of ideas. Like, the ideas are out there. It's up to you to actually try those things and put the actions into place to figure it out. Right. So with me, when I first got started, I had some friends, but I really didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't feel comfortable as a brand new agent to just go out there and be like, hey, do you guys want to make your biggest investment with me? I'm brand new, I'm a rookie. I just didn't have the confidence. Like, some of you guys are just freaking brand new and freaking crushing it. And I love to see that. But for me, I was all about I need to meet new people. I feel more confident if they don't know that I'm brand new. So that's why I really dived in on open houses. And I did all the things that we're supposed to do. Any way that you want to lead generate, there are plans that will help you online. If you simply YouTube or Google it. And it's just up to you to make it work. But the reason why I mentioned that is, for a lot of agents, they might have to do things in the beginning that they don't enjoy, right? Like, okay, I didn't mind open houses. I made myself excited about it, but ultimately I knew I didn't want to be doing open houses for the rest of my life. I want to be doing real estate for the rest of my life. I'll always have a license, but I sure do not want to be doing open houses all weekend, right? Like, work-life balance, I'm all about that. But I do believe in the beginning, like, if you want to be successful, you have to put in that time. And I knew that. So I was all in and committed. And I love seeing some of y'all are just crushing it with open houses. And I'm always cheering you on, because that's what you have to do. A lot of agents, some of my friends, when they first got started, they were doing FSBOs and expireds. Like, those work, and they still work if you work and you're consistent and putting the action into play. People are very successful off FSBOs and expireds, but that isn't something that they want to do for the rest of their life, is make these cold calls, right? That's not the goal. The goal is to build that database, meet more people, build that sphere, and to get referrals, right? And then ultimately, maybe your goal is to have a team, and then you train someone else who's new and can make those cold calls for you, right? So I think that hopefully is a little bit motivating for you, that if you're brand new and you're trying to do these lead sources that you're not just feeling super excited about, well, maybe you need to realize that you have to put in the work, you have to do these things, figure out what you enjoy. Like, for me, I would rather do open houses than do the cold calls. Okay. Like, I tried it. I realized like it wasn't for me. And I was doing the open houses. I felt more excited about it, and all the actions that it took place to do that, like to be able to be out and about, I enjoyed more than just sitting at my desk and making the cold calls. So that's what it's about. It's just figuring out what works for you, implementing it. Maybe you have to do it for a couple of years, that grind, like I did anyways. And then, ultimately realizing that you're not going to be doing this for the rest of your life. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. But okay, so I'm going to share with you guys my screen and show you this template that I have created. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and I'm definitely going to go back to all of the questions and whatnot in the chat. So please feel free to add those in. Let me know that you can see my screen. That would be really helpful. Okay, awesome. Ooh, thumbs up. Cool. Okay, so this is a template that I made in Canva. It's not super fancy. I ultimately use my Excel spreadsheet to keep track of all the data. But I just like pretty like checklists and things on Canva to look at. It's visually more stimulating. So it's cool to have this like in my office and to look it over year by year to see the numbers. So super simple. Total gross volume, total units, number of buyers, number of sellers, my top 3 lead gen sources, which is super important, like what worked for me in 2021. And then there's an other section that you can use and implement if you have other income streams. So that basically breaks this down. If you have any questions about this, I feel like it's super simple, self-explanatory, but I'm happy to answer any questions. And then I have my 2021 goals in here, wherever that went. Oh, I gotta pick the next page. Got it. Okay, so 2022 goals are listed here. And like I said, I'll give you guys this template so you can customize it. And then I have my 2022 action plan here, where essentially I only want to focus on, let me let some peeps in. I only want to focus on doing 3 things in particular in my business. So I have the farming, the sphere, and my past, and I just make it super simple. So I want with farming, it's been working for me in the last year. I'll share that I've just been sending new listings and just sold flyers. And a lot of people have just been really surprised by the numbers, right? Because the numbers have been so crazy in the last year, and some people aren't realizing, oh, I know that I'm not sharing my screen anymore. I'll go back to it. Thank you for telling me. So with, what was I saying? Oh, setting, I shared it in Etsy, and I think I shared with everyone in my Level Up on Instagram, but it was this template that I shared on Canva that gave a breakdown of the market stats for that particular area. So I listed like any active listings, what was pending, contingent, and what had recently sold. And since numbers have just been so high that people are blown away by that. So I got a lot of calls from this. Gosh, this lighting is driving me crazy. But so that was really helpful. And I did just listed, just sold postcards. So I realized that worked in the previous year. So I'm gonna keep doing that. And then I'm gonna do a direct mail, a monthly campaign for people that to all the desired properties that I want to attract. So there's a couple of neighborhoods that I'm farming in right now. So I have a 12-month plan, which I will share with you, the items of value that I want to send to them. So some of those include like the Jaguar schedule, market stats, my Christmas card, the Christmas pop by, recent sales and market stats, short and sweet, I feel like is where it's at. If you don't have, you don't have to have sales in that neighborhood to share the market stats. Like, oh, this was my listing. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving them general knowledge that they could Google it and look this up, right? So even if you don't have listings in there, you could still send that. Even a just sold. You know, you probably have to do some kind of disclosure on there, like, hey, this was listed by so-and-so brokerage by Joe Smith, but still, essentially, they probably wouldn't even notice that little disclaimer. So, and I really like Coffee and Contracts, their templates that they have in there. I just like simple. So I feel like I'm slightly creative, but I really like implementing a lot of their content because I like their style, and I just go in and input the data. And I take the Coffee and Contracts template and I have been printing it recently on Canva. I've been really surprised by their prices and the quality of the items. You can print the postcards in there. And then also, where else? Oh, Vistaprint. I haven't used them in a while, but they were another one. Yeah, why draw when you can trace? I love that. That was great, Deb. Yeah, so I have just been doing that with the postcards. And then my next item is the sphere. And my plan with my sphere is to continue with social media daily. With Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I do my weekly YouTube videos. I also implement those on social media platforms and in my weekly email, which I absolutely love. I'll continue doing my weekly email. I did a YouTube video on it. I preach by it. I'm using Constant Contact now. And I love all the data that I get afterwards from Constant Contact. And something also really cool about Constant Contact is, so I have this, if you get my weekly email, you'll see, but I have this section of listings, and it's St. Johns County homes, pool homes, and then new construction homes. And it's a little photo, and then underneath is a little link for people to click on it. So every week I'm just updating that link with those listings. But if you click on that, now you're going to be put into this separate list. Like, let's say you clicked on St. Johns County homes. Now you're going to go into this separate list. And so now I'm thinking, okay, maybe you're interested in St. Johns County homes. I'm going to start directing actual content for you about St. Johns County. Same thing for pool homes and new construction homes. Start sending them some new construction info. So that was one thing that I learned recently with Constant Contact that I was really impressed by, because majority of it is potential buyers and sellers, people that are past clients. Honestly, any email address that I get, I'm sending them this. If someone sends me an email, I'm adding them immediately to my email list. And then I also ask everybody on Instagram every single week if they want to be added to my weekly email. And there's a section at the bottom for realtors. I always have a video that I created that week, or like the last couple of weeks I was promoting this. I might be promoting a course or something, but always trying to put in items of value in there for you as well. So I love the weekly email and thought that was really cool. Another thing for my sphere is the Christmas wrapping paper pop by. I did that recently, and that was such a huge hit. I think some of the pop-bys I feel like are a little corny, and it's hard for me to get excited about them. But with the Christmas pop-by, I'm like, if someone brought me wrapping paper, I would love that. I think that was such a great idea. I got a lot of really great feedback from it, and people were texting me, thank you so much. And it's just another way to start conversation with them, especially if you haven't talked to them in a while. Hey, how's it going? Are you ready for Christmas? Are you ready for the new year? I saw this on social media. How are your kids doing? So that was super fun. And then they also, gosh, this lighting, you guys. They also shared it on social media and tagged me. So I was able to like share that out over and over. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it was really inexpensive. I bought like $2 rolls from Target. I'm sure you could go to the dollar store. I just added the little market dwellings tag on there. I did hire somebody because I tried doing pop-bys before. Jacksonville is so huge land-wise that it took forever. Unfortunately, all my clients are not in the same neighborhood. So it was so much driving. So I ended up paying somebody. I think we did, I sent them to 40 people, and it was $300, which I felt was so reasonable because I'm sure it took her all day. Anyways, okay, so let's see. I'm also going to be doing events next year. I have a plan for 4 different events. So I'm going to be mailing those to my sphere, sending them the event invite. And that's another way to start a conversation with them, is to send them to an event and to see, hey, how's it going? It's all about building genuine relationships with people. It's so much more. I know I preach about social media all the time, but I really use social media as like my portfolio. Like, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm into. You can see my personality. You can see that, I enjoy work and what I do, but that's a way for me to showcase myself and stand out against all the other realtors, right? So I actually meet up with people off social media all the time. And even new people that I meet, sometimes when I tell them like, oh yeah, I'm a realtor, I just kind of feel like, oh, there's so many agents. And so I want to add them on every social media platform for them to see all that I'm doing. And then it blows them away. And it's like, oh, wow, like she actually has sales and does a lot, right? And is educating and trying to help people, all those things. So it's a really awesome way to leverage yourself, even if you don't have sales. I mean, I did that for so long, just going neighborhood tours, educating people on the real estate market, doing those open houses. So a couple of things that I'm doing for past clients is I'm going to share my screen real fast so you guys can see this craziness. Okay. All right, so this is the next template. The past clients I'm going to send in January. Everyone that bought a house in 2021, I'm going to send them their settlement statement and the homestead instruction. So this is another way to touch base with everybody that bought a house. I like to send like a little handwritten note in there, like, hope you're enjoying your home. How was so-and-so? Would love to get together sometime. And then I love doing the yearly happy home anniversary card to the buyer, people who had bought houses, and I'm sending it to them every single year. And I'm using the card from Market Dwellings. Referrals, I love Market Dwellings. Thank you for helping my business grow and sending them a little $5 coffee gift card. I mean, people will text me like, oh, thank you so much. I mean, people send me $5 coffee gift cards and I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. It's like, it's just $5, right? But it's like the gesture of it is really cool. Continuing to send out my weekly email, doing the mailers for the invites, the Jaguar calendar, the Christmas card. And then I always do the end of the year Christmas ornament for my 2022 buyers. So I feel like this looks super simple and easy. And it's just a great template for me to look at throughout the year to figure out what it is that I need to be focusing on. So there's a couple of things that I did want to mention. I want to make sure that one of the key takeaways you take from today is that this is a great way to analyze and review the big picture of the year. But sometimes seeing these numbers and figuring out how to achieve these ambitious goals we set can seem daunting, right? I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but sometimes when I look at my big numbers for the next year, I'm like, how the heck am I going to do that? Ultimately, a lot of people end up procrastinating. So I want to give you some tools today on how I help myself achieve goals and, more importantly, keep myself motivated and excited about them. So I love the 12-week year. Let me know if you've read this book. If you haven't yet, go out and grab it off Amazon. I love to implement a lot that I have learned from the book, essentially breaking down your goals quarterly. So we have our big picture goal for the year, right? Like we did our 2021, we analyzed, we are looking at our 2022 numbers, we have everything broken down. But let's break down those goals quarterly and focus on that. So each quarter, I am focusing on that quarter goal only. I'm not thinking about that 20 million for that year. The number is smaller and it seems less daunting. And then you're giving yourself a shorter time to achieve that goal. You're giving yourself 12 weeks. If you break down your big picture goal into 12 weeks, you're more likely to achieve them and you may even achieve more. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm breaking down, okay, what do I need to do for this quarter to reach my big picture goal? And then I'm writing all that down. And then month by month during those 12 weeks, I'm like, wow, I crushed it. Now I'm done. Okay, what can I set myself up for success in the next quarter? So you actually end up getting ahead, and I feel as though you can ultimately achieve more. So you're not taking your big picture goal and trying to do it all in 12 weeks. No, you're dividing it and conquering. So every month I'm looking at my 12-week goal. If you guys have seen my YouTube, I'm breaking all of this down. So I don't want it to seem too overwhelming. I break it down into detail on my YouTube. So I'm only focusing on that 12-week goal, right? But each month I'm like, what do I need to achieve this month to achieve that 12-week goal? And I'm obsessed with it. I'm looking at it every single day. It's in front of me. You're more likely to achieve your goals if you're writing them down. So I'm writing them down constantly. Even though I might be visually looking at them, I'm writing down my to-do list for the day on what I need to achieve this month. And I hoard everything in Trello. So I have all the numbers that I shared with you here is not only in my Excel spreadsheet, it's on my Trello. I have it printed out in front of me. And then in Trello, I break it down. Okay, there's my big picture goal. Now let's break it down to the 12 weeks and let's break it down monthly. I feel like me talking about this sounds overwhelming, but it's really not. And it really makes the goals less intimidating. Okay, so let's see. Now let's see. I just want to make sure I got everything. So I shared with you guys my action plan. I like simple. I don't like to overcomplicate. I don't think that it needs to be super complicated. Like I shared, I'm simply focusing on farming, my sphere, past clients. Yeah, we basically talked about that. So let me go back to these questions. I am never doing a call during this time again because the lighting in here is so horrible. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to go through right now. First year working. Yeah, so we have a ton of new agents in here. What's your advice on getting experienced agents to let you host their open houses? Easy, just reach out to them. I love when people reach out to me and they're like, hey, can you do an open house for me? Because I'm likely not doing it and I need help. I need all the help. So I'm like, whenever someone reaches out to me wanting to do an open house, I'm like, yes. So what I've seen agents do and what I've done in the past is they just wrote into the brokerage's Facebook group and just asked, does anyone need help with open houses this weekend? And usually people are responding pretty quickly. But you could, like, if you go into, or at least on ours, in our MLS, you can go to office listings and you can see all the brand new listings for every day within your office. If you see a listing that's in an area that you love, that you would love to work in, you can just reach out to them. Hey, Susie, I saw you have this new listing. Are you open to me doing an open house for you this weekend? So it's really simple. Inventory is so low, so I've struggled getting open houses. Yeah, I would say that is a great way. And then I've also heard of people reaching out to FSBOs. If there's a FSBO in an area that you want to work, that's a great item of value to reach out to them and not seem salesy. And a way for you to get potential buyer leads is, hey, I saw you have this property listed. Do you mind if I do an open house for you this weekend? Okay, any other questions? For your expenses, for the mailers, do you direct send from Canva and Vista? Okay, so I know it would be a lot faster if I created it and had another company do the address and the stamping and whatnot, but I'm in this phase of wanting to handwrite it. Or what I've done sometimes is gone through the property appraisers website. I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but in our counties here, you basically can go to the neighborhood that you want to work in, or you want their addresses or particular streets. And at the bottom, there's an export button and it's already in the label format. So I print that off and stamp it on to my postcard. And then I put a stamp for my return address. So I have never had another company do it. And another part of me is like, are they really going to do it? So I feel like I've made it more simple with printing out the labels and doing it myself. And, it takes a little bit of time, but, I'm doing it once a month. So are you niching down to those specific interests with or switching to another? No. So they had asked, when I had mentioned earlier about constant contact with anyone who clicks on that link, it'll add them to their own specific list. And then you can set up a drip campaign in constant contact. So I'm not using a different platform to do this. You can set them up on a campaign, or you could just sporadically email them whenever you have the content. But I think it's super helpful to just have it all ready to go so that it's just going to automatically, set yourself up for success and have it automatically going out. So you don't have this other task of, okay, I got to this month send out the pool list people something, the new construction people. Just have it all ready to go. And just with items of value, market stats, ways that you can help them. Coffee and Contracts has so much free content. I'm using them for everything. My weekly email, videos, social media, posts, stories. There's just so much stuff in there. Just listen to 12-week year in the car. I should have it on in the car. I have like the actual paper copy, but I love your goal accountability YouTube videos. Thank you, Erica, for saying that, because sometimes I'm like, is this helpful? But honestly, it's helpful for me. So I would honestly recommend for anybody to record themselves in the beginning of the month, talking about what their goals are for that month, and then doing a video at the end and saying, okay, this is what I accomplished. This is what I didn't. This is what we're going to focus on the next month, and talk about your goals for the next month, what it is that you need to focus on for January. And I say that because it's helped keep myself accountable. And throughout the month, I'm thinking like, okay, I got this done. I don't want to get on that video and be like, oh, I didn't do it, because I'm going to be honest about it. Right. And you could simply do this, even if you don't share it with anybody. One, it's great practice to be on video, but I think it would be great if you partnered up with some agents and you're like, hey, let's do this. Let's record our videos and I'll send you mine, you send me yours. It's going to help each other stay accountable and hyped up, and you'll probably get ideas from them and what they're doing and their goals. So I just see so many different benefits behind it that even though I was adding it to my YouTube channel, I was like, if nobody watches this, this is so helpful for me. And I started just writing it down. There's another person on YouTube that she did this. Like, I didn't come up with this idea. And every month I started writing it down with her. And I'm like, okay, here's her new video. Got to write down my goals. And it helped keep myself accountable. And I was like, why don't I make a video? Like, we could all do that and keep each other accountable. I think it would be super fun if we shared it in our Facebook group. Maybe we all had like a thread and we all shared like our monthly videos and could see each other's goals, what they accomplished, what they didn't. I think it'd be pretty fun. Okay. Can we see what your quarterly and monthly goals look like? So I have them all on video and they're all on YouTube. So yeah, you could go there and watch them. How do you collect open house info and verify the info they put in? I mean, you can't verify. Like, is this really your number? Let me call you right now. That might be a little much, but what I did at open houses that I thought was super helpful. I personally think about like what you would like. If you walked into an open house and an agent was like, here, sign in. I need you to sign in. You're like, oh, heck no, I'm not giving you my information. I feel as though I need to show up and provide value for them first in order to get their information. And how I did that was with my buyer guide. So I'd always have my guides there. First of all, they come in the house. I'm not salesy. I am not even talking about the house at all. I'm like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Usually there's kids. I'm talking to the kids. Are you guys going to a bunch of open houses today? What else do you have going on? What are you doing after this? The weather's so nice. Like, just having genuine conversation that you would have if your friend came through the door, right? You're not like, hey girl, oh yeah, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. No, you're like talking to the kids, having real conversation. So I focus on that first. Then I let them walk around and do their thing. I don't want to be walked around. Whenever I go into a store and the salesperson's walking with me, I hate that. So I'm like, I'm not doing that to someone else. You go do your thing and I'll be here, and you ask me any questions when you get over here. Then I'm over there working, or I'm conversating with someone else when they walk in. And this is how I'm able to get their contact information. So I did all of that. And then when they come to me, I'm like, hey, what did you think? What feedback do you have for the seller? And they tell me. And then I'm like, have you guys bought a house before? And a lot of times they say no. And I'm like, okay, do you have enough for your closing costs? And a lot of times, especially if they're not working with an agent, they have no idea that they have closing costs. That's one thing that I've noticed in buyer consults. Like, they don't realize like how much a home inspection is. They don't realize they have to pay for an appraisal. They don't know what the cost of an appraisal is. So that's what I'm mentioning is, hey, do you need, are you going to need help with closing costs? Do you know how much closing costs is? And then I open it up to the sheet where I have my upfront costs on there. And I'm like, okay, well, based off of this house and what we're in, a $300,000 house, it's going to be about 3% of the purchase price, about $9,000. And they're like, oh, wow, I have no idea. And they're like, hey, you can take this. It has what the inspections cost, the appraisal. Do you know what an earnest money deposit is? They're usually like, I have no idea. And then you explain and you're like, this is typically what it is. Here, take this with you. And then they're always so amazed. Other real estate agents aren't doing this at open houses. I feel like that is such a great way to show up, be non-salesy, and provide value. And there's been so many times that I'm like, after that, I'm like, hey, can I get your information? I would love to follow up with you. Do you want to, people will set up a buyer consult meeting with me at the open house. Like, I'm like, when are you free next week? I've got Wednesday or Thursday. It's pretty flexible. And have them, get together with them, get a cup of coffee. I'm like, hey, I'll take you out for coffee. It's just so not salesy, and what has ultimately worked for me with open houses. So, that was a lot of information. I hope it was helpful. Do you use Trello for your CRM? So right now, I am. And I pay for the upgrade version of Trello. So I'm able to set reminders on there. And I'm also able to, if I have a contact like Joe Brown, if I, followed up with them, I have notes all in there. I have attachments in there. It shows like the activity, any updates that I do are in there, and I will share it if I need to like set a reminder, like, okay, let's follow up with them in a week. Then I can add it to my calendar in a week. So it'll remind me again. It reminds me through the app, and then it reminds me through my Google Calendar. So it's not super fancy. I used to have Boomtown with a previous brokerage. It was awesome. It was so high tech and fancy. It was overwhelming for me. Like I mentioned, I like to keep things so simple. And when I left, I found out that it was $1,000 a month if I wanted it myself. I was like, forget that. Came across Trello, which was free. I was like, yes, I'm doing that. So essentially, yes, I'm using Trello as my CRM. I keep all my past clients in there. And just little reminders like, okay, did I send them the happy home anniversary this month? I set up a reminder, like I need to send them that item that month. So do you ever receive negative feedback with your emails? I've always been so nervous to add people to newsletter without giving them permission. So I have personally never received any negative feedback. I've only got people like loving it and wanting to implement it themselves in their business. And about adding people, I mean, I haven't gotten anything negative, but they can unsubscribe if they don't love it. But I don't really get a lot of people who unsubscribe. It's usually people that I'm like, oh, who's that? I have no idea. So I don't care. So I think you should just do it and give it a shot. So how do you structure your daily routine? Oh my gosh, that is like a whole other video. I should make a YouTube video on that. But essentially, I work from home now, so I have my office, and I like to go in and look at Trello, look at my goals, see where I'm at, and I just make my to-do list for that day. And I am all about time blocking, which I need to wrap this up because this was only supposed to be 30 minutes, but I know we started late, but I have a listing appointment. So I'm all about time blocking. So I take like that to-do list and I legitimately time block throughout the day what's supposed to happen. Like, am I leaving for this hour? I come back, what do I need to focus on? So I'm not having to think about it again throughout the day, because the day gets overwhelming and people call and then you get busy and fires to put out. And then I'm like, it takes me right back to what I need to be doing when I'm like, okay, no, I call this person back. I have this on my list of things to do. And sometimes, like, if I don't have that and throughout the day, I just forget of what am I supposed to do. And then I'll end the day early and I'm like, okay, I'm good. So if I have this in front of me, it really helps keep myself on track. Oh my gosh, I want to answer these questions, you guys, but I do have to go. So maybe we could do this again, and hopefully that saves these questions so I can do YouTube videos on them. But unfortunately, I have to do this. So I hope this was super helpful for you guys. Thank you for showing up. I am going to give you the Canva link right now in this chat so that you all have it and you can customize that template if you want it. If not, no hard feelings. Okay, hold on one second. Where are we at? Okay. Canva. Y'all wish me luck on this appointment. I already got it in the bag though. It's okay. Let's see. Share, and I'll allow you guys to edit, copy. And then if you are in our Level Up on Instagram, I will share the link for you there also. So there we go. Copy and paste that. Let me know. Send me a message and oh, I can do the open house when you get the listing. Yes. It's a good one. In a really good location. So what was I going to say? Let me know any questions you have. If you enjoyed this, if you want me to do this again, I would love to. Let me know in our Level Up Instagram, Facebook group if you're a part of that, or send me a message on Instagram. Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. Have a great day. I'm cheering you all on, and I will chat with you all soon.